Hello, welcome back to my channel. As promised from the previous video on the breeds of broilers, today we are going to discuss about the various diseases that affect the various broiler breeds. So please, if you have not watched the video, you can go to the description place and take the link and watch that video. So to make it simple for us, we're going to talk about these diseases in just three basic forms. That is the disease that affect the respiratory disease that affect broilers. Then what we are going to talk about the gastrointestinal diseases that affect the broilers. I want to talk about the musculoskeletal disease that affect broilers. These are the major things that you see in your farms. This is say doctor, sometimes you say my birds have kata, my birds cannot breathe very well. My birds are doing this. These are the respiratory disease. They say now another thing, say doctor, the legs of my birds, it's not all right. These are the musculoskeletal disease. And sometimes say doctor, the sheet of my birds is brown. Sometimes they say it's green. Those are just signs. So that's why I'm going to simplify these various diseases into that three group. The first classification used by me, that is the respiratory disease that affects broilers. Now I'm going to start from chicks then down to the adult broiler. Broiler live a short life, maximum 8 weeks. Sometimes some people live up to 12 weeks. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the broiler pneumonia, or what is known as what aspergillosis, where you see that the birds are opening their mouth, gasping for air. Guys, panting to see that they breathe in air. So these are some of the diseases that you see in chicks. Then the second respiratory disease that you can also see in broiler is what is known as chronic respiratory disease, which is caused by Mycobacterium gallinarum. So it's also a form of respiratory disease, but it affects older birds. Like from you can see that from week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7 upward. But that the aspergillosis, which is caused by a fungal disease, a fungal organism, affects basically, you can see it in young chicks, and mortality is very high sometimes. So you see that gasping of air. So between that period, you see aspergillosis as a group. You can see chronic respiratory disease. Another respiratory disease in broilers is the infectious bronchitis. Now, infectious bronchitis also looks like chronic respiratory disease, but in this case, it is caused by what? The virus. Another viral disease that causes respiratory disease in poultry is the Newcastle disease. It has a respiratory form. So all these organisms that I'm mentioning cause bacterial and respiratory disease in broiler. Now let's go to another form of disease that you can see in broiler, known as the gastrointestinal disease that you can see. Coccidiosis and E. coli sometimes, it can be a mixed infection, where you see that these affect the GI system, where if it affects the upper GI system, you're going to see the brownish feces. If it affects the lower GI system, you're going to see the frank blood in the feces. While E. coli, due to its ubiquitousness, you can find it everywhere, and both in the GI and everywhere. Due to poor hygiene, farmers seem to get E. coli diseases in their farm. So E. coli cause the gastrointestinal disease also, where you see all those signs of greenish sheet, somnolence, inappetence. The birds are not feeding well. The birds are unable to do well. So these are gastrointestinal diseases. Another gastrointestinal disease that you can see in birds is enteritis. Now, farmers sometimes confuse enteritis with coccidiosis, and sometimes it can also be a mixed infection, where sometimes you see there is an ulceration of the GI system, and that also will lead to ulcer and lead to increase in FCR, and the broiler will not do well. But going back to the previous thing I discussed about the respiratory disease, when broiler birds have respiratory disease, you find out that those birds are stunted. Those birds cannot grow very well because there is not enough oxygen that makes the birds to be able to convert the feed very well so that the birds can grow, especially in terms of chronic respiratory disease mixed with E. coli. Find out that those birds will not do well due to these diseases. So these are the respiratory disease and the GI diseases. Next is in musculoskeletal diseases. Then the last classification that I classify diseases that affect broilers is the musculoskeletal diseases, where you find out that your birds have some paralysis. Sometimes they come from the hatchery, you find them having core-toe paralysis, due to nutritional deficiency such as vitamin B1 deficiency. You can also have vitamin B2 deficiency. You also have vitamin D rickettsia in these broilers. And sometimes you can have straddle legs in these broilers. So all these paralyses that you can see are musculoskeletal diseases that affect broilers. So basically, these are the forms of diseases that affect broilers. Then naturally, if I'm going to go deeper, I want to talk about are they viral disease, are they bacterial disease, are they fungal disease, are they nutritional disease. So, but basically, I'm just bringing it to the practical aspect. What you're going to see in your farm, you see them having respiratory disease, you see them having gastrointestinal disease, you see them having even gout where the kidney is being affected. You can also see them having musculoskeletal disease where you see paralysis. But the basic thing you're going to do in preventing all these things happening to your farms is number one, and source your birds from a good and reputable hatchery, so that all those diseases that can be gotten from the hatchery, you have to prevent them. Then two, have good housing and good hygiene. If you have good hygiene, you can prevent gastrointestinal diseases from getting to your farms, and you can prevent other people from coming to your farm with infections if you have good biosecurity. And three, good management practice. If you have good management practice, your vaccination schedules. Vaccine is part of management practice, where you give your birds vaccine to prevent them from getting viral infections or some bacterial infections. These days we also have even coccidial vaccines. So we have vaccines that prevent your birds from getting bacterial disease, from getting fungal disease, from getting viral diseases, so that at the end of the day these birds cannot come down with disease. You give your birds good vaccines as for immunization or vaccination as we call it in best practice, then you have good biosecurity so that diseases from outside will not come into your farm. Then you have good housing so that your birds are not stressed, they are comfortable, because one of the things that lead to respiratory disease in broiler is stress factors. When these birds are stressed due to heat, due to too much cold, due to lack of feed, no water, they come down to diseases. So with good management practice, you can prevent diseases from catching your birds. Then after that, you are sure to get a good success in your farm. To prevent the musculoskeletal disease, apart from getting your birds from a good hatchery, the next thing is having a good source of feed. If your feed is good, is nutritious, contains the various multivitamins that are needed by these broilers, you will not get all these vitamin deficiency mentioned, like the core-toe paralysis, the vitamin B deficiency, vitamin B1, vitamin B2 deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, selenium deficiency. That's where you get the white muscle diseases that affect broilers. So if all these, you get your feed from a good reputable company, or you can formulate good balanced diet for these broilers, your birds will grow well and they will do well, and thereby safeguarding your investment. That's why in our next video I'm going to talk about which one is better. Is it the mash or the pellet? So we're going to talk about the various feed your broilers so that they can grow very well. Watch out for the next video. Please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and the notification button so when we post the next video